Hello there. Hello, Midnight Charlie man. It's the 14th of the 6th, 2024, 14th of June 2024, and I thought I'd be a bit productive in the way of, well, I thought, what can I do tonight? And I've watched in the last couple of days a couple of movies, and, okay, first things, I'm holding a stem, because what happened is, recently, Michelle has bought, this is the bottom, but it's not, well, I'm used to, when I'm sitting here, I'm used to holding the camera. When I'm in I consider going down to the garage, but it's freezing. It's about 10 degrees in Tullychill at the moment. I've got all the lights on. Michelle is away just up the coast, hanging out with hanging out with one of her friends for a few days. So I'm being as productive. I'm just trying to be productive, doing a few things around here. So this stem was over there, and I thought I'll have a go at using it. I'll have a go at using it. Why not? And because I thought I can hold the camera again. This is quite good actually. I like it. Now this, geez, this movie I watch it periodically, and I can take these off for the time being. I might even get it on Blu-ray one day. I probably will get it on Blu-ray one day, and I've got all the lights on. Now, one of my movie-wise, one of my very first memories was going to the VHS store. Going to the VHS store at Burwood, and apart from Chaplin and Jaws, one of probably the third movie poster I ever saw was Escape from Alcatraz. This one here. See this one here? This one here. I like the stem. The stem is good. The stem is good. I like it a lot. Escape from Alcatraz was one of my first movie poster memories, one of my first memories of the movies. I never saw it on the big screen, but however, it was. See, this is the DVD cover, which they presented this cover about a decade ago, but the classic cover is of Clint Eastwood through the crack in the wall. That's the classic cover, and I think whenever this was on TV, I was going to say that a picture of Escape from Alcatraz would be in the paper. It wasn't. No. In the TV, look, it came on TV periodically, but whenever I saw the poster for this during the 80s, right, and the 90s, there's always that picture there. This, I watch it because sometimes I just want to feel like I'm in San Francisco in the 1960s. 1960s and the 70s, right? I like that. Let me go to my facts here. Release date, it was released in 1979, but it's set in 1962. Big history with this film in the sense that I've just seen it many times over the years. I used to watch it all the time when it was on television, and then when in the VHS days, I'd hire it out, I'd rent it out, and then I got the DVD some while back now. It's also one of the most disjointed scripts I've seen ever. This movie's like Training Day. It's also a bit like Dazed and Confused in the sense that the script, that there's a plot line, but the script is hugely disjointed. And That's not a bad thing, but it's a puzzle. It's a big puzzle. And every time I watch Escape from Alcatraz, I get something new from it. I actually watched it last night. Uh, did I? I should know if I did. Yeah, I watched it last night. Look, I want to talk about a particular scene. I want to talk about this scene here, okay? Look, this scene here. I want to talk about this scene here. And except here he says, we play King of the Mountain. We play for keeps. I only just saw this last night. See how, like, they're sitting there, right? Look, they're sitting there. And, sorry, my VLC does that. But this guy is presently higher than this guy. And I'm like, he's the king of the mountain. But in this scene, I've never actually, I never looked over probably before. And I was watching it on our bigger TV. I was watching it on our TV, right? And I'm like, wait, that guy, he is higher than this guy in this scene. And is that just like a it's just a thing. There's a few things in this movie. There's a few of them. And okay, there's a few things in this movie. And every time I watch this movie, I think about those things. Like sentences, things that don't make sense. For instance, one of the most awkward, one of the most, it's a bit of a fascinating movie. One of the most awkward moments in the movie is when they're all going into the workshop, and Clint Eastwood, he's waiting for all the other prison inmates he's standing near the guard, and he's waiting for all the other inmates to walk by him. Like, what could have happened in that scene? I think Clint Eastwood should have challenged the director on that and said, look, I'm going to stand there like an idiot for a minute. I should just walk into the workshop and get ready. So I think what Clint Eastwood should have done during that moment is he walks into the workshop, prepares, gets ready, and when all the other inmates are coming, he goes back to the guard and says, look, Doc looks upset. And they said, inmates are always upset about something. Get to work. But instead, Clint Eastwood just stands there. He stands there awkwardly. It's the most awkward moment in the movie. It is the most awkward moment in the movie. And it doesn't make any sense for him to be doing that. Now, there's another moment in the film, another moment where Clint Eastwood is confronting the warden and says, you never know which asshole is going to be offended. And then the warden says something to him like, okay, now go and sit down. And Clint Eastwood is like, oh yeah. Like, I don't think his character in that moment, I don't think Frank Morris's character in that moment when the warden says, no, go and sit down, he gives him an order, and Clint Eastwood in that moment complies. Like, it's a really interesting reaction move, because I'm thinking, I don't think that Frank Morris would have complied to that, but Clint Eastwood in that moment, an acting choice, he decides to concede to the order that the warden gives him, and I thought that was out of character. That was out of character for Frank Morris. And another thing is when that guy says, I'm Al Capone, I've got too much money, I'll never die. And it's like, is it dark satire? I'm not really getting that. I've never really gotten that. it's such a weird script in place. It's a really weird script, and very disjointed script. Um, what else is there in there? Those clay heads, and okay, I know it's creative license, and I've actually watched the documentary on Alcatraz. There's a really good documentary on YouTube. I've watched it a couple of times, but in the movie, Clint Eastwood, he's made his clay head, and it really does give the impression that he's gone for a fairly long period of time, and then the guard happens to come back, and at one point reaches through the bars and touches Clint Eastwood's head, and he does actually happen to be in his cell in that moment. I think that as I really like this movie. I do really like it. I like the atmosphere of it. I like the tone of it. I'm a big Clint Eastwood fan, and I think that in the way these events occurred is quite different than what is portrayed in this movie. I think this movie is good entertainment value. Great. I think it's great entertainment. Prisons are fascinating. It's great entertainment. However, I don't think it's true to life of the actual events. And there's a movie. There's a particular movie which I can't find. And in the movie, the guy at the beginning of the movie, unless there's some outtakes from Alcatraz, unless there's some footage which I just haven't seen, which they changed years and years ago, sometimes do that with movies. There's a prison movie. I was certain it was this one. At the very beginning, they see Clint Eastwood on the street, the policemen, they see him on the street and they arrest him and take him to Alcatraz. But I'm maybe thinking of another movie. Also, there's a particular movie. My goodness, what happens at the end? There's an escape at the end, and there's three of them that escape. And what they do is they rub oil all over themselves, and then put plastic on, and then put their clothes on. And I can't figure out. I'm certain it's this. I'm certain I've seen this movie. I thought it was this movie because I hadn't seen this in a long time. And then, like, this is years ago now. I hadn't seen this in a long time, and I watched it thinking this was a movie, and we get to the conclusion of it, and they don't do that at all. So there's some other movie I'm thinking of where they prepare in a particular way for the harsh waters of some bay, right, or a bay, and I don't know if it's this one. It's oh, how for long periods of time Clint Eastwood in this movie, he goes up into the vents to the other levels, and he's gone for long periods of time, and it seems a bit unlikely to me that you'd actually be able to do that. I mean, the documentary that I watched said that half the prison guards were in on it. Okay, that would make sense. But this movie's so disjointed. The script is so disjointed. Well, nonetheless, it's it is a classic movie. It's a classic movie. It's it's a it is a classic movie. Greatly enjoy watching it. I think every time that I watch it, I find something different in it. Like if I will be looking to the background, or just the expressions on the actors' faces, what Clint is doing, what his co-stars are doing, how they say things. It's like I'm almost getting a brand new story each time with this. And especially and how Alcatraz was set up. And the character, all these characters in the movie. One thing though, no privacy at all. Like, whew, none. Oh, also, English. So at some point, English actually did show Clint Eastwood how to solder those two pieces of metal together. Which only you don't need to have that as a scene. I can just assume that he took half an hour out to show Clint Eastwood how to solder. And another thing is, we don't see all the characters in this movie, and you could just say that because there's a particular magazine, an English officer, Frank, he says, I know two queens who fight over it every month. So you've got different characters in the movie as well, and we don't see all of them, but every time he mentions that, he says, I know two queens who fight over it every month. I would like to see those queens. I would like to at least. I mean, this movie could have went for 3.5 hours. I think it could have easily went for 3.5 hours. And also the other guy who says, I'm painting an award and I find him inspirational. And it's like, okay, all right. See this part here where it just when he's about to do this and it's about to make a heck of a noise. Those cells very very small, very small. I've been to Alcatraz. I went there in 1998. I've been to Alcatraz. I thought it was fascinating there. Really, I enjoyed it. It's I periodically watch this. And one of the most difficult parts of all is, maintaining when he puts that mould together of the wall, at the bottom of the wall, he puts that mould together, and you've just got to go off the fact that the warden and the other officers simply aren't going to pay enough attention to that detail. Oh, and also that guy, the guy, he says, I'm not doing too well. My thing is it's not going too well. The guy who has anxiety about leaving at the end, he Putz. I think his name is Putz. Is it? No, it's not. No, it's not. The guy, Clint Eastwood, and his other two co-stars are on top of that guy's cell, and they say, hey, he says, I'll meet you up top. Right then and there, he could have went with them, but in the documentary that I saw, Clint Eastwood's Frank Morris, his partner in crime, his cellmate next to him, the guy next to him, apparently there was all sorts of things that actually happened in the actual real events. There was all sorts of things that took place. This is more of a simplified entertainment version of things. But he's, in a documentary that I saw, his not his cellmate, the guy in the cell next to him, there was a bar where he was trying to do, there was a bar in the way. And so maybe they've taken that into account for this. And also, something else I noticed, that when that Doc cuts his hand, and afterwards Clint Eastwood puts his fingers in the box and carries it up to the officer and says, put this in your report. He says, put this in your report. The officer is like, barely gives a reaction to that. He barely gives it, and the thing I thought, which was like, everyone get back to work. Everyone, this big incident happens where this guy cuts his fingers off, and the officer's like, everyone get back to work, get back to work, get back to work. You're doing, and it's like, not really, not after that. But we're talking about the 1960s here. Talking about the 1960s, a very, very different time. Still one of my favourite movies to watch. I do get a lot out of this movie. Something new every time. It's so interesting, and geez, that accordion would be annoying to listen to, wouldn't it? But I think that according to that documentary, half the guards at Alcatraz were in on it. They knew that those guys were trying to escape. Now, whether that is true or not, it would make more sense that a few of them knew, because to carry out a plan like that would, I mean, you'd have to be extraordinarily discreet. It would make more sense that a few of them knew about it. The way this is shot it's done very well. It's done very well. Okay, just a few thoughts about Escape from Alcatraz, and thanks for tuning in. And yeah, Escape from Alcatraz, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. I wished to say those few things. Oh, and I like to think that they made it. I liked it. I have a few reasons for that. One of the reasons I think they actually did make that night was the adrenaline would have kicked in. Their adrenaline would have kicked in. And I think that would have helped them cross the bay to whichever island that they were, wherever they're going that night. I think their adrenaline helped them, and I like to think that they made it based on that. How accurate is the movie? It's not. I don't think it's that accurate. It's more just an entertainment piece with the script is a bit wonky. Though I find that Clint Eastwood is so engaging is so engaging in his performance that's why I enjoy watching this movie. Okay, all right then. Thank you. Charlie Butts. Charlie Butts. Larry Hankin plays Charlie Butts, and he. Okay, so every character. This movie takes complete creative license in many senses. However, I think there would have been there could have been and would have been a character such as English in Alcatraz itself, and was there a character such as Charlie Butts? I think what it is it's a metaphor, it's a simile. Charlie, to the way that Hankin played it, the way that Larry Hankin played it, was because that character in real life had trouble getting out of his cell because there was a pipe in the way, and so what they do is that they have this because Clint Eastwood's character is thinking, how did Larry end up in here? I mean, honestly, what did he do? Because he's a bit of a softie. He's not really he's not hard edged, and so I think they put that. It all came together as what I'm saying is this: all the characters in the movie, I think, were just based on people, based on characters that likely would have been a part of Alcatraz, and yeah, and even the wolf character, yeah, he would have had types like him in there. So what happened was in the movie, they put a few characters together, which and they put that scenario in there. And I think that, in real life itself, very possible that some of those characters would have been in there. I think that the Charlie Butts character would have been a lot tougher character. He would have been I think that he actually would have been a more hard-edged man in person. But as I said, quite a Charlie Butts. Yeah, he's more. Wouldn't say passive. He's okay. He's not as intelligent as the Clint Eastwood character, and but yeah, they just brought these characters together. I don't think that's the way that things happen. I don't think those things actually took place in real life. I mean, Doc might have cut his hand off for real. But anyway, they put the characters they put together for the film worked. They worked, even though the script is disjointed. Yes. It's the 17th of June 2024. It's 1:37 a.m. and I took this opportunity because Michelle is away tonight, and so I've got the unit to myself. So I thought, you know what, I could do a little bit of filming, and I'm thinking about watching a movie as well. I think I would probably have another late one. I've just been stitching up my pants. They're going very well. Yes. So yes, a few thoughts on this came from Alcatraz. A few extra thoughts on it. Okay. Thank you.